If you're looking for ways to increase communication with your students or potentially your colleagues at your school site, Today's Meet is an excellent website to have your discussion continue, whether it be during the school day or after. Today's Meet is a website that creates a back channel that allows that discussion to continue. So for this screencast, I'm going to take you through some of the basic features of Today's Meet. So the first thing we need to do is go through and create an account. Now before we do that, you'll notice right here in the right corner of the web page, there is a place for you to get started and open up a back channel chat room very quickly. But by doing so, your features are limited, and so we are going to create an account to get as many of the free features that we can. Now once you go through the create an account screen, there's two ways for you to create your account. One of them is by putting in your information and then creating that account. Or if you're Google Apps for Education District, you can use your Google Apps account and link it to Today's Meet to log in. Once you log in, this is the home screen that appears. And we're going to go through now and go through the steps to open up a room. The first thing to do is to set up a name for your chat room. So I'm going to set up my name for the room as ECVHS2. And you notice here that nobody else has that chat room name, so it looks good. And now I'm going to set the parameters of how long I want this room open. You'll notice there's different options of how long you can keep your room open, all the way up to a year if you so choose. But for the purposes of this screencast, I'm just going to choose an hour. Your next option is who can join your room. Anyone can join your room, or just logged in users. So logged in users would be anybody who's logged into Today's Meet. For our purposes as well, I'm going to just choose anyone. And if you're doing this with a group of students, if you're doing this with colleagues, it's easier just to select anyone than having just logged in users, because then everyone will have to create an account, and sometimes that can get kind of cumbersome. So I'm going to keep mine as anyone. And then you'll notice down here that, oh, this part here, my school is grayed out. This is a premium feature of Today's Meet. The other premium feature is the password. We cannot set up a password because we do not have that premium account. So once I have all the parameters I'm looking for set up, I'm going to open my room. And when I do so, here's the screen for my room. Here's the name of my room, and then some other little pieces here that we're going to discuss. Now, let's say you want to invite people to this chat room. Well, all you have to do then is go through and copy this URL, and you can send that to your colleagues. You can send that to your students. If you use a Google Classroom, that would be an excellent way in which you can send this to your students. Once people start joining your room, they'll get this same screen that you see here, and they'll have to go through and pick a nickname. So I'm going to go through and just put in my initials real quick, and I'm going to go and now join this room. After I join the room, the next thing that pops up is a place for a message box. Now, when you think of Today's Meet, it's not looking for you to provide huge pieces of information. In fact, the maximum you can provide is similar to Twitter, only 140 characters. So we're looking at discussions that are brief, that are quick, questions that are brief, answers that are brief. And so, as the moderator of this room here, I'm just going to go ahead and just type in a quick little greeting. And once I do so, I am going to select Say. And now you'll notice over here on the box under Listen, this is where all the messages are posted. This is just like Twitter, if you're familiar with Twitter, that it provides a stream of all the messages. Now, a couple of features that are really interesting about Today's Meet is one, not only can you keep track of who is sending those messages, but if it's a message that you do not agree with, that shouldn't be on there, you don't want others to see, there's also a delete feature where you can delete somebody's message. So this is a good way then to moderate your room with students who are posting or possibly others, depending on how you're using this website. The other part I want to point your attention to is some room tools down here. A small window pops up and it gives you some options of how you want to go through and either set your preferences or how you're going to present the information or how you are going to send out the link to your chat room. Now, after all your participants have been inputting messages into your chat room, and let's say you are done with your session, you can go up here to your rooms and it will take you back to your main screen of your account. Now you'll notice the room that we were just in is ECVHS2, and I can select right here and go back into that room if I so choose, or I can select the whole rectangle and I have a drop down that pops up. And you see some of the basic features that you saw within the room here on this drop down. Now, one of the things that's really important and what's really also nice about today's Meet is that if you want to keep a record of all the messages that were sent in your chat room, the transcript feature allows you to download all that information into a PDF for reference later. Or what's nice about this too is if you're done with the room and you don't want anybody else to be using it, you can actually close that room. Okay, so I'm going to select close the room here because we're done with that. Yes, I am sure I want to permanently close it. And when you permanently close, you cannot go back to it and grab the transcript. So before you close the room, make sure you select transcript, download your transcript, and then close your room. So those are some of the basic features of today's Meet. I've used this with my class in a variety of ways, keeping a back channel during lessons when students are working, and if they have questions, they can go through and ask those questions. I've used this with videos, and as students are watching videos, they are commenting, they are going through and asking questions about what they're seeing on the video, and sometimes I've even noticed students are looking to provide the answers to others, and they're researching some of that information online and then posting answers to students' questions. I find this very useful, not only for student use, but also for meetings and, of course, tech trainings. And if you're watching this, you might have been part of our tech training where we use this website. So there's today's Meet for you. Hopefully it's something that you might use sometime down the road.